at our table, and we were lucky to have her on board because she's actually doing project study in our school. And of course, the teacher would observe the children, and based on their age groups and stages of development and the resources and practical aspects, she would be then the person who does decide. So, do you agree or not?
You had a lot more discussed though. What were some of the things that you said?
Maybe some incident happened in your class and you want to, maybe children, you just observe the children and you feel that this is something that they would like to work on. And then I think it is more, we should keep the interest of the child in mind and the age group of the children, basically.
But who's the final authority after that? Who decides?
Well, it depends on what type of classroom. It might be something that you vote on. It might be something that you as the teacher say, you know, I feel more comfortable with this topic. I know more about it. I'm going to make it more rich for them. I have more resources. The community has more resources, the parents. So you think this is just going to be a better project because the locality. Yes. The other thing is, and I know this may seem like a lot, I see no problem with having 3 or 4 projects going on in a room. So you have a class of 25, maybe you have 2 projects going on. There's usually one overarching one, but then you may get into small groups so that maybe someone's more interested in the physical aspects of a project. Others are more interested in just...
Can you give an example?
I was thinking, coming back to the gardening example, there's some kids that might be more interested in kind of the preparing of the field, the digging, the shovels, front loaders, different types of construction things, and they may go off and somehow I deleted a slide there where they were doing mapping of the garden, how they were going to lay, because you lay out a garden before you plant it. So they may really want to stay with that, you know, because that a lot of those things I just talked about, maps and discoveries and plotting and making paths and the construction, they may stay there for a long time, and then others may be ready to go on to think about, you know, what's going to grow there and what are we going to be able to eat it, or do we look at it, or what do we do with it. So that might be one example. So it might be the preparation, it might be the actual gardening. Others it might be the kind of the artwork or the things that come out. Or in this case, some of them really connected with the master gardeners, the older. It turned out to be the older members of the community coming in, so they spent more time talking with them.
Is it all right for the teacher to put some prompts or cues in the classrooms?
Absolutely.
That's fine.
I was thinking after the project was going on, I think it is important to put prompts and cues and keep trying to, you know, engage them. I think when you're trying to figure out, is this something they're interested in? I think if you put some things there to try to see, does this generate more conversation? Sure, I think I think that's okay, especially when you're first trying to figure out that. I do, you know, in having some experience, this was about 10 years ago, I felt that one teacher tended to listen to one little boy, or 2 boys in the classroom, who were very outspoken and were very bright. And so it was their interest that she would start to pick a project for the whole class. And they were very well liked. It wasn't that the children weren't interested in doing that. I just felt she needed to go a little more slow and listen to all of the children. These kids were easy to listen to because, you know, they were very adorable, lovable, you know, children, very bright, always, you know, their parents always had everything in that they needed, you know, so whatever you asked for. So it was easy. So I don't think that those should be the only voices that are heard, or the kids that are the easy kids. And I think the example he had given earlier with the turtle, the beautiful poem, and that it was a wide enough project that even though you may not look like you're on track, you are making the connection. I think that's, again, we're getting back to trust. We really struggled, I think, with this question. There was a lot of trying to figure that out. And I think this is probably still for me. Any of these questions, if we took these even you know, to the program that I work with, we would have big debates or discussions like this. There isn't a black and white answer. Okay. The next one, how does project-based learning vary in different types of early childhood programs? I think that's the group in the back. Okay.
Hello, my name is Asma, and I'm already working as a teacher trainer. It's the Educators, you must have heard this. It's also a project for Beaconhouse. I worked in Beaconhouse for 6 years, but now I'm working as a trainer. So I visited many campuses before, and I'm proud to say that most of the campuses, like in Beaconhouse as well as in Educators, we are following the curriculum which is like integrated with the project-based programs. We are already following it. People are doing the same practices in the early years. Like in project-based, all the concepts are not limited. They are integrated with all the subjects related. Okay?
I think that's a really good point to make, and I may not have been clear enough about that because I may assume that, but could you say that part again? Because it's a very important...
I wanted to say that, for example, if I ask my students, let's in the beginning that we are going to start a project on water. So we teachers are like trying our level best to integrate all the subjects related to the water on different days to make the project clear to them, like science and social studies, arts and what games, they are all integrated to make the projects clear for them. That is a project based.
And I like, obviously that's a topic near and dear to their heart, just like gardening with us. We used to, I think, sometimes do these very exotic topics. A lot of rainforest were being built in classrooms, and that is interesting, and the children are interested. But
I think our children are quite smart enough, and they will share their ideas related to the community and what currently happening in the country. Like if we give them an issue for water, what is happening, they will easily come up with the load shedding and what happens during the flood. See, they will give you ideas. If we have a lot of water, we don't have any problems related to the light. See, they are quite smart enough. So this is also project based.
okay. Did you have anything more on various early childhood programs? Did you get that far? You were really discussing this. Yeah. We'll do that. Very good. Let's move then to this question. How might project-based experiences look and facilitate, so how would they actually look in a classroom and facilitate learning? We've talked about that in various pieces. Would you like to do that as a small group again or as a large group? What's most helpful to you? Same groups? Just do it in a small group and then we'll report out? Okay. Okay, I'm fine with that. So if you haven't answered part of this, or you might, how might a project-based experience look? What would that look like in your classroom? And how might it facilitate learning? So as we start to answer this, how might project-based experiences look in classrooms? And how might they facilitate learning in my classroom at school?
I'm a pre-nursery teacher, so for me, energy, hyperness, that is a major issue. For my level, I feel that it's going to help me channelize their energy because they're going to be physically involved in the activity.
Okay, so right there, you're going to pick activities that are going to let them move. So music, movement, that's going to be, and even if the topic isn't music or movement, you're going to be sure that those goals, there's going to be a lot of movement and opportunity for them to use that energy.
And I would like to say, project-based learning is a proper procedure. You have to follow procedure. You have to get information. It's a procedure that you have to follow. Once you have followed the procedure, how to do anything that you're doing, next time you will do much better because you know what the procedure is. The next time when you do it, you'll manage your time. If you don't know how to do it, and it will be integrated in their system how to work when they are in the next grade and in the next grade and in the next grade.
Thank you. That's a wonderful point, that the first time you do projects and the first time you watch children go through, it is hard. It is harder because you're learning something new. It does get easier, and that I think trusting yourself, trusting the children, the pacing of how questions and things might go. And also, I think you can trust that learning is happening and that all of those goals and outcomes that you might have for this child, you'll see that those are embedded in there. And then when you look at the child afterwards, goals that you might be setting, such as we were talking briefly, like turn taking, being able to negotiate, to solve a problem on their own. So if you want
listening to others as well,
listening to others. So all of those things you would still have those as your goals. You don't just put the project out there. You still, part of the goal is that you are expecting them to turn into children that care about themselves, others, and their world, their materials. So we always come from that basis. I can take care, I care for myself, my friends, and we say my materials. But then as they get bigger, the materials become more kind of, the world. So with the pre-nursery, we would say at least we're going to take care of, these materials here. So I want to make sure that we think more authentic learning, but you still, all of those learning goals and outcomes, you do have those expectations, high curriculum expectations for the children and learning. Okay, how about another group? Oh, okay.
I just want to add on to what she said. Would you then think that to do project-based teaching or learning, would the teacher then need to be trained to conduct a project-based?
Definitely, yes.
Because I've seen and observed teachers, and what happens when they do embark on a project, when the project takes on at a different level, that's what I was saying, the targets, as the project takes on and moves on, your outcomes changes. Teachers then find themselves in positions where they can't handle the situation because it goes out of their
well, and you see that in all classrooms. Yeah,
so would it be better if teachers
our whole program, I told you we have 100 teachers coming every year to Kent State for a 4-year program. It's all on, we call it inquiry-based, which it's another name for project-based. It's difficult at first to learn because we've grown up in schools that have been more adult or teacher-centered versus child-centered. And so it is definitely a skill, talents that need to be nurtured. Some teachers are going to gravitate towards it. Others are going to be fearful of sharing power with children. It can be scary to let that go. They're afraid the class is going to run wild. And we do have that responsibility to care for children and to teach them and to learn with them. So yes, I would